It's Paul Marsh, and I am delighted to say that I have been joined by the fantastic guitar player and fantastic musician, Toby Lee. Toby, thank you so much for joining me.
Hey Paul, thank you so much for having me. Honestly, it's so great to be here.
Well, Toby, I have to say, let's start the interview right. You are one of these people that I absolutely hate. You are young, you are good looking, you are amazingly talented, everything that I'm not.
Well, these are all compliments that I'm very much appreciative of. So thank you, Paul. I'm not sure how much the good-looking one's true, but I
Oh,
do appreciate it.
I wouldn't kick you out of bed, put it that way. Um, Right, so let's get into this. You are only 19 years old, yet at the age of 19, you've done so much and you've created so much. You've already at 19 years old, you have already won the Young Blues Artist of the Year at the UK Blues Awards 3 times.
It's been a bit of a crazy journey, and little things like that are kind of one of these surreal moments because you work so hard at trying to perfect and learn your craft as much as humanly possible. And what I love about music in general is that you can never fully learn it. I feel like for me personally, it might be different for other people, but there's no finish line. You know, if you feel like you finished the guitar, you change your tuning and try something to it never stops, and that's what kind of attracted me to it in the first place. So when you work so hard to kind of, I don't know, create as many avenues as possible within your instrument to then be kind of I guess put aside with an award is really incredible, and kind of, you know, it's not why I do it, but it makes it so much better along the way to kind of be appreciated, appreciated with something like that. You know, it's incredible, really.
I love that you mentioned like that's the reason why I started playing. How old were you when you started playing?
Well, it's been a bit of a weird journey, really, because I started on drums,
Oh, okay. I didn't
which,
know that.
yeah, I absolutely loved it. And I think it was just that I've always been an outdoorsy kid, and I was always that kid that would be the noisy one and just kind of trying to make some sort of music with anything I possibly can. And obviously, the easiest thing to really make a noise out of is tapping on a table, which is ultimately going to evolve into drumming. And so I was always that kid at school that would just be drumming away on the table, and the teachers would get really annoyed at it, and I still wouldn't stop because then I'd start getting the pencils out and make a little drum kit with my pencil case and all that kind of stuff. That was always me. Um, and so I loved drums, and we always had instruments around the house. We had drum kits, we had violins, we had pianos and guitars and basses. There was always everything around the house. So I
Wow.
kind of, there was, you know, I could have gone down anything, and I didn't have to go down music. And I was never, it was never a case of mum and dad saying, oh, you should do this, or we've got you guitar lessons or something. It wasn't that at all. It was just, I really loved it. I just absolutely loved it. And so I played drums, and I really enjoy it. I still do, but I unfortunately was laid upon with the case of the neighbours do not like the drums kind of attitude. So unfortunately, the drum kit sat in a dusty corner for a while, and out came the arrival of a ukulele when I was probably about 4 years old, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it, but I wanted to explore a little bit more, so I needed something with a few extra strings, and then the guitar came along. So I guess I started with a little quarter-size guitar when I was probably about, I would say, six, and then I got my first full size when I was eight, and then by 10, I thought that I want to do this for the rest of my life, and I haven't stopped ever since.
Well, it's funny you should mention at the age of 10, because at the age of 10, you kind of went viral, didn't you? Because of the video that you made for BB King.
It was totally unintentional, like totally
I don't think at
unintentional.
10 years old anyone intends to go viral, do
No,
they?
no, I didn't wake up one morning and go, you know what? It was a very weird thing. So basically, I'll try and keep it slightly concise. As I've mentioned, I can talk for England, and I don't want to talk anyone's ear off. But I uh, I have some family that live out in America, and this was kind of, at this point, Facebook was obviously a thing, but it it wasn't really used in the way that it's used today. Obviously, now people promote everything, whether it's a local flower shop or a car dealership or a musician or an arts and crafts, but it's everything. Whereas at the time, it was more literally just for you and your friends to kind of tell each other what you've been doing and pictures of whatever you've eaten for dinner or something. It's that kind of thing. And so we had family out in America, and they wanted to hear me play guitar. And at that point, it wasn't very easy. We didn't really have the file sharing kind of apps that you have that make it quick and easy now, because this was like it would have been over 10 years ago. And so you still had it, but it just wasn't as efficient. So we thought the best way of doing it is set up a little Facebook page, upload it onto there, and then family can be able to tune in without having to download massive, big old files and it being a bit of a pain. And so we did that. And it happened that I did it on a Sunday. And we thought it was quite nice. My family seemed to be enjoying it. And so we kind of just made a bit of a regular thing of it. Hence why I was wearing onesies, because the first thing, if you want to go anywhere, and in terms of viral video or something, especially when that's not in the intention, you're not going to put on a onesie and go, right, this is exactly what I fancy doing today.
You mean that's not what you're wearing when you're on tour?
Well, I can't lie, can I? Really, they are quite comfortable. But anyway, that's but it was one of those that we just did it as a little bit of a laugh, and then it started gathering an audience of people other than just my family, or my family would share it with their friends, and it kind of naturally started evolving, but at quite a rate. And we had a couple of things come through of people saying, "Oh, you should listen to this, you should listen to that." And then for me, this was amazing because I was loving what I'm doing, but I'm finding out all these incredible musicians. And I really got into BB King, and then obviously heard that he was unwell, and so I did a little video as a get well soon for BB King in a tiger onesie that I think we bought from M&S or something years and years ago in a clearance sale because it was so hideous and no one wanted it. So I kind of went along with that. And I was just chilling on the sofa, and then all of a sudden it went viral. But I mean, without it and without the onesies and all that kind of stuff, I couldn't do what I love doing today, because that spiraled into getting a call from BB King's family saying, would you want to come out to Memphis and play his club with his all-star band? And that led to so many other things. And it was just this incredible whirlwind that all my family were not expecting, from a little small village in Oxfordshire, just playing guitar from time to time and making a load of noise, and all my friends, thinking, what is this kid doing? To all of a sudden just pretty much just flying around the world doing it for real at like anywhere from 10 to 11 years old. And it was just mental, but incredible. Absolutely. And it all happened so quickly. And so that was kind of as concise as I can keep it, even though I know it's still a bit of waffle, but it's a lot has happened in a short space of time. And it even takes me a minute to kind of process it all. It's been a bit crazy.
It really, really has. It, like you say, it's been an amazing past 10 years of you growing up, and you've done so much in the last 10 years. I know you were in School of Rock, and you know, out in America on TV shows and all those other bits and pieces, which has led you up to where you are today, which is, your new album out, your tracks out, you're about to go on tour. This is pretty much as exciting as it gets. Your first album, big tour, and all. Let's talk about the single first. Is the title track of the album. It's called House on Fire. I really, really like it. Just tell us a little bit about the track, and where you got the idea from. Did you write it? All of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so it was kind of a bit of a bit of a surreal experience, because you hear a lot of musicians sometimes say, "Oh, it took us like a month to write this song on an album," and it was a lot of craziness to try and make it happen. We wrote 16 tracks in 3.5 days, and recorded them all as demos as well. The only thing that wasn't live was the drum kit, but everything else was all stacked vocals, all harmonies, all live guitar tracks, bass tracks, keyboard tracks, literally everything, in 3.5 days. So we ended up kind of thinking, we've got too much. We're going to have to filter this down a little bit. And it was just crazy. I don't know what was happening, but it just all came together. And so we kind of all sat down at the end of it, completely like creatively broken, because we're like, everything that we've built up to try and get out has just gone so quickly. And then we thought, right, should we give it a week? Let's just try and rest for a bit, and let's come back next week and try and do the same, because if this has happened, there's something going on here. And we went back the next week, and I think we got one track in 2 days. We couldn't do it. So there was something happening in the room at that
Yes.
exact point,
Yes.
which was complete. It shows the power of music, because none of us have any recollection of what happened. We documented every single moment on Polaroid, so we've got it all in physical form and old school pictures, which is great. I take an old film camera everywhere to document things, so it was always nice to try and keep the old school side of things. We didn't, other than the recording equipment, we weren't on our phones in the studio. It was just the band basically, and probably about 50 guitars, to which we tried to get all of them into the studio recordings, which we did, which was great. But House on Fire was the track that it kind of just, it felt like a title track even in the demo form. It felt like it was the one that encapsulated what the whole idea of the album was, which was to basically, because it being a first fully original album, we wanted something that would be able to encapsulate all my inspirations from through the years, but without it being a cover, if that makes sense. So it's
Yeah,
more
yeah,
of a
yeah,
hint of
yeah.
an inspiration than a kind of a copy. And so that one for me, it had the mix of guitar, a little, a bit on the popular side, I guess, in terms of contemporary genre, and then it had a bit of a catchy hook line, and that was kind of my plan, to bring a guitar solo into a bit of a more modern approach. But it was four writers. It was me, my current bass player Sam Collins, Gareth Young, and a guy called Banan Infiel, and we just literally went in and recorded it all. And then we took three weeks in the end, I think, to do the whole album. And I chucked every single guitar that I owned into the back of my old Volkswagen pickup truck from the '60s. Drove over to the studio and had to make it my mission to get every single guitar into the recording, which I did successfully. So I'm very happy. Um, and yeah, it was about a year and a half ago we recorded it, and everything takes a while in the music industry,
Yes, it does.
as you will very much know. So it's kind of it takes a minute, but I'm very very happy that it's out there, and it seems to have been well received so far. So I'm
It
really pleased.
has, yeah. What I love about it is, to me, it sounds like it's almost like when like a mid 40s or 50-year-old musician reminisces about when he was young, and he reminisces about when he was 18 and meeting that first girl and all of that kind of stuff. It sounds to me like an experienced man is reminiscing. But of course, you're
Oh,
19 now. You was what, 17, 18 years old at the time when you recorded it originally. So it fits perfectly. It's got that experience, it's got that nostalgia, but from a young person point of view, and I love it. I think it works so, so well.
well, that really does mean the world to me, because that was kind of the outset aim with it. Really, we wanted to create something that I think the main word that came up was credible, because I can't even explain how hard the transition of going from um, someone that's classed as a social media musician. I never intended to be a social media
No,
musician. I
yeah,
was just a musician in a modern age, and the only way to be able to get it out there was social media, because they're not going to let some 8-year-old playing a guitar into a club at midnight to play guitar. It's just not
no,
going to be a thing. So
yeah,
the only way in which I could do it was social media. But some people are, an Instagram guitarist or an Instagram drummer or an Instagram singer. I was just promoting my craft through that. So trying to build a credible audience in terms of actual people, to come out and enjoy the shows was something that was really really hard. But we're getting there, and it all seems to be going in the right direction. And we've had some incredible audiences over the last kind of the last week of the tour, and start heading back off again, to keep touring again. So it's been absolutely hectic, not just with the band, but I think we've already done 35 shows with Jools Holland as part of that tour, which has been absolutely incredible experience as a special guest with Jools. And then heading back out on the 31st, I think, in Southend-on-Sea, a Halloween show. And that takes us pretty much all the way through, bar a couple of little days off where I get to come home and see my mum and the dogs, because Dad comes with me and helps me do all the driving and the merch. I genuinely couldn't do anything without him. So I'm very lucky that I get to do it with my family. And then we get to travel back on the 23rd of December. So it's
oh
a
wow,
absolutely stacked year. It's been over 120 shows, I would say. And any single day off that I've got, we're booking shows because I never get tired of doing what I'm doing. I just love every second of it. So
Yeah.
I'd rather be doing it than sitting at home not doing it. So
Well,
it's great.
you mentioned both your tours. So, like you say, you are in literally in the middle of doing your current own UK tour, and then
Yeah.
you are about to go back out on the road with Jules and Imelda as well. What's the contrast like between doing your own shows, which I would imagine a little bit smaller right now, and then doing the big shows with Jules?
It makes you, I think the best way of putting it is it really, really makes you appreciate what an incredible opportunity is to be offered the gigs with Jules. Because for me and my band, we've worked so hard. No matter what, we've done some shows that have been literally my mum and dad in the audience, and you hear these bands that will say we did a gig and there was just a guy and his dog or the sound man or something. We've done those
Yeah,
countless times
yeah,
over and over again, and even though it's still a show, it is quite soul destroying because you're doing what you love, and all you want is, as a musician, is for people to hear and enjoy your music. And if there's no one there, you kind of feel like it's like running into a brick wall a little bit. And then a couple of gigs will come in, and they'll have some decent audiences. But a decent audience for us might be anywhere from 100 to 200 people, which for us is like incredible. And then the Jules one will come in, and it's 2,000 people a night, and it's kind of like it really does make you appreciate the scale of what it is, and I'd never ever take it for granted at all. And it's really, it's not only been an incredible experience going up with them as a band, but musically it is slightly different because obviously there's only four of us in my band and there's 20 something in Jules's,
yeah, yeah,
so in terms of that, it is quite different, but it's kind of like playing with the future dream, if you know what I mean. It's kind of
yeah.
like that's something that I'd love to do, is even if it was just to record an album with a big band like that, that would be incredible. So to get a little glimpse of it over 65 shows and stuff is pretty incredible.
Well, I know I'm going to say something now that may shock you. I'm not 21 anymore. Okay, I'm a little bit older, and if the
I
one
couldn't tell.
I
It's all
know it's
good.
very difficult to tell, isn't it? I know.
It is. It
I love
is.
the way the internet lies and Zoom cameras lie. Um,
I'm actually 64. It's just a filter.
so around about 15 years ago, I'm not sure if you are into your hip hop or anything else like that, but around about 15 years ago, Tiny Temper, who's a UK rapper, came down to Portsmouth and performed in a club where I was DJing. And he performed to, I think, around about 50 people, give or take. It wasn't very busy at all. But he performed like he was performing to thousands upon thousands of people. It was one of the best performances I've ever seen, and it was to 50 people. And then, sure enough, within 18 months of him doing that, he was then performing to thousands of people in arenas and bits and pieces like that. So the one thing that I have learned is that it doesn't matter whether you are performing to 10 people or 10,000 people, you give the same performance.
100%. It's the same show, and at the end of the day, without sounding really, really stupid, most of the times for me personally, my eyes are closed. So it's the kind of thing you've got, even if there are two people there, and those two people are your parents or the sound guy and a guy and his dog or something, you still got to give them the same show because they've paid the same as what it would be
Yeah.
for someone to come and play. It's still people coming out and supporting you, and even if it's one person, even on the tiniest scale, that one person might tell another person. So you've at
Yes.
least got to, and it will just carry on building and building like that. Um, so yeah, it's just all part of the journey. And when you love doing what you do, it doesn't really matter whether there's a couple of people there or not, because you should just love doing it, no matter what. Whether it's hard, it's never going to be easy. But we don't do it as an easy way out, as much as a lot of people think that being a musician might be an easy way. It's in fact the complete opposite, because as you'll know, you have so many plates to juggle. You're not
Yeah.
only playing music, but you've got all the travel, you've got all the paying the band, you've got booking the shows, you've got selling the tickets, you've got doing the merch, you've got selling the merch, you've got producing the merch. It's there's probably about six different umbrellas under each category, and you end up taking on so many roles that actually it's completely the opposite from the easy
Yeah.
way out.
Yeah, it's a 24-hour day job. It really is. Well, you are coming down south. You're coming down to Portsmouth. on Friday, the 15th of November, with Jools Holland and Imelda May, to the Portsmouth Guild Hall. On Saturday, the 16th of November, you're going to be at the Bournemouth Pavilion. And on Sunday, the 17th of November, you're going to be at the Mayflower Theatre in Southampton. So, yeah, you are coming down south. It's going to be great to see you. And I've absolutely no doubt whatsoever that one day, very, very soon, you will be performing in those types of venues on your own with your band, and I can't wait to see it. Toby, thank you
Oh,
so much for talking to me. I really do appreciate it. If people want to find out a little bit more about you, they want to know where to download your album, they want to know where to, follow you on Instagram and all the usual bits and pieces, where can they do that?
well, my website kind of covers everything as a kind of a backstory of kind of what's been going on in my life to date. And in terms of kind of future stuff as well, and gigs and merch and all that kind of fun stuff, it's all on the website. But I'm on all social medias. I'm Toby Lee Guitar on Instagram, same on Facebook. I'm mostly active on those two. But yeah, the website kind of gives all the details, in terms of backstory and what's going on at the moment. So that's probably the best place. But thank you so much for your time. Honestly, I've really enjoyed talking to you. So thank you for having me.